The following video is brought to you by Squarespace. Salutations everybody, it is Maddie here today, and I hope I don't jinx this, but ladies and gentlemen, this very well may be our last Starfield video for some time. I thought our cherry on the top was going to be the Starfield in-depth analysis, where we took a 2-minute trailer and made it a 23-minute video. A little insane, I know, but there was a lot to go through, I felt. With all of that in mind, we have one big mystery at the heart of that trailer, which just got even more weird with some investigations that have been sent my way by someone and also some other discoveries made online that I want to highlight here. So until we see more in the terms of information or interviews or maybe even trailers, we likely won't get our full answers, but I want to dive deep into one of Starfield's biggest mysteries. So that's what this whole video is going to be about. If you're new here and you're into Starfield or Bethesda games, consider subscribing and joining what we're doing here. But before we get into anything else, let's have a word from our sponsor. Aha! A video game! But it's not a Bethesda one. There's gotta be a Starfield clue around here somewhere. This just doesn't make any sense. I'm in the right spot. I know I am. Hey, Matt, you doing all right, buddy? Oh, hi, hey. How's it going? Look, I'm noticing that you're pretty into Starfield, and we don't have gameplay yet, brother. You doing all right? I mean, it's just look, I can explain if you just give me some time. I'll find something. I know I will. All right, look, I'm gonna make a suggestion for you. We're gonna pull you off of Starfield, okay? The game's coming. And we're gonna tell you to make a site on Squarespace. Squarespace gives people a powerful and beautiful online platform from which you can create your own website, connect with your audience, and generate revenue through gated members-only content, or manage your members, send some emails, and leverage audience insights all in one easy-to-use platform where you can continue to grow and grow. If this interests you, head over to squarespace.com for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/MrMattyPlays to save 10% on your first purchase of a website or domain. The core of this mystery is this sheet of paper right here at the middle point of the Starfield trailer, which Todd Howard himself has openly said this has a lot of big narrative clues about the game, and that combined with the audio for the trailer saying the key to unlocking everything, it's clear what we're seeing on this sheet of paper is very important to the story of Starfield. So as I said, and I don't want to take credit for this, I am just relaying the investigations that were sent to me about Starfield itself and providing more clues to the audience, because while it doesn't give us full answers, as I said, the mystery gets even more deep. And I did a lot of digging across really Reddit and as much social media and YouTube videos as I could, and a lot of the things that we're going to be diving into through this investigation I had personally not seen. So let's start off by mapping out this sheet once again, which some people may not be familiar with. So on the left is what's labeled as a coded chamber with large outer walls and rough steps. This is some of the, we'll say, transcribed scripts because some of the text is very hard to read beneath the photo. And then there's a view from the approach as we indicated in our in-depth analysis. On the right side of this chamber, it says that there's debate in Constellation, which is one of the main factions in Starfield, that continues over the nature of the pathways. Center design was intentional, but the disconnected elements suggest separate meanings. And this building, this coded chamber, is multiple stories tall. The little picture on the bottom says, so far, we've been unable to determine what happens in the center. And on the left, we can see rotating rings with a character standing on the outside of said rings. This carries into the first discovery that I saw that not really anyone else was saying, which is the connection between the coded chamber and the image on the view from the approach and the building, which is actually the coded chamber that is at the heart of some of the Starfield art that we see right here in this movie poster looking wallpaper, thus indicating that whatever this is obviously at the core of this story. A text write-up accompanied by this image says, the portion of the diagram to the left is a drawing of a city. The diagram indicates an outer wall with a spire rising from the middle. The small red lines are mimicked on the right side of the diagram. These lines are commonly used in architectural diagrams to show a top-down and side view. The circular image is the top down of the city, while the lower image is the side view. The coded chamber is indicated as being inside the spire within the circular city. The outer wall indicates it's fortified to protect something. The rough steps are a possible way in, and it is many stories tall. The circular city with the spires also in the Starfield poster, shooting light from the top, propelling you forward. This has led to speculation that I think a lot of us expected, which is maybe this coded chamber is a relay to some other part of the galaxy or connects to someone or something. But overall, what I think is most important to note here is that this building that is at the heart of the Starfield poster has been identified now. And so it makes it a little more obvious that something here is more important than has been given credit for. Let's continue going with these investigations, though, because it gets even more interesting when we look at some of the Greek alphabet that we saw accompanied by this image in the Starfield trailer and what exactly that could mean for getting through these coded chambers. As we can see in the image, we have Alpha, Beta, Chi, Delta, Epsilon, and then Rho, whereas a comparison image of the rest of the Greek alphabet shows that there are aspects really just missing. With this, of course, being labeled as a coded chamber and then the mentioning of pathways, it's very likely that these Alpha, Beta, Chi, and so on are actually the pathways through the coded chamber, sort of like a maze that needs the right pathways to unlock and reach the top of this spire, and potentially the mechanism at the center, which, if we take a closer look at, does mimic two different movies that people are familiar with, and Bethesda's done this before with shows, for example, with Fallout 4 and so on and so forth, such as Event Horizon and Contact, where these rotating rings usually represented the altering of gravity to open gateways or passages to another dimension or location in the galaxy, which, once again, a lot of us speculated, but I think when you start to bring in those context clues, it's very apparent where I think Bethesda's heading, where this is a coded chamber with a lot of different keys that you either have to collect from parts of the galaxy and then bring here, sort of like I mentioned in my first ever video, I think, on Starfield after we saw it at E3, which is kind of like the star maps in Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, taking those pieces and then bringing them to this one chamber, finding your way in particular through the chamber, and then at the center of this chamber, this mechanism brings you somewhere that could possibly save humanity, because based off some of the books we've seen, like Omega, which is this science fiction book about pretty much the end of the world, it indicates that humanity's on a clock. And I think some of the imagery of the Starfield poster shows as much. When you look at sort of the hourglass presentation of the image, you can start to get a sense like humanity's on the clock here. Maybe I'm digging too deep into the symbolism here, but I can't imagine that's not intentional. So when the trailer says you're the key to unlocking everything, and you start to put together what the coded chamber is, what the pathways are, how they're identified, and what is really at the center, and also that it's in the Starfield art, it's like, oh, whoa, it's starting to come together a little bit here. But obviously it gets weird because you don't know the clear-cut answer because we only have so much to work off of. Now, we took a look at these pathways, potentially, which are represented by the Greek alphabet, but there are two other designs blocked in red that do not appear in the designs found on the top page with the rest of that alphabet, indicating there are more designs that we have seen designated on the top page. What this could mean is the trailer may take place at a point in the story where you've collected a number of pathways and you're finding more. This very well may not be the set number of pathways that are there in the game, and you have to collect them all, but rather that there is more to that puzzle, or maybe you start off with just a small number of clues and you go from there. The Latin designs, likely a sequence or a means of orienting the sliding pieces, are visible on top. This means the sliding pieces are aligned properly. These two images look related. Another top-down and side view possibly. The orange dotted line are directions of view. If the Latin designs are used to ensure alignment, the spire may spin into different configurations to take you to different places through the gravitational mechanism. The entire spire is like a locked tumbler, and these designs are the keys to open different doors or locations. The coded chamber may be the entire spire. So that's the bulk of the investigations that were sent my way, and at first I was sort of hesitant to take them because I like to, as you all know, just do my work and present it to all of you. So it felt a little weird at first taking someone's investigations and being like, hey, here you go. But they said, like, please take it for yourself. do that. Share it with the world. I want you to, because I had actually, funny enough, mentioned in a video that if someone can start to crack the code on this piece of paper, we'll learn a lot more about Starfield. So while it does present us with more mysteries, I think we have a better idea of what all these pieces are and sort of where Starfield lies to some extent in a narrative department. But there's investigations that have happened since our trailer analysis that go beyond that, such as where we are in this Starfield trailer and audio cues that you can hear, but people have now identified what's happening. So we're going to get into a couple of those here. First off is where we are heading in the Starfield trailer, right? We see our ship taking off. We're getting ready to leave this moon-looking planet or rock, whatever you want to call it. Where is the player character heading? Well, there was a Reddit post that says, I think I figured out where the trailer is set, which is Planet Jemison Alpha Centauri. Nobody has mentioned this, which is true, by the way. I didn't see anyone else saying this. I believe we are in or heading towards the Alpha Centauri system on Planet Jemison. Why? Because on the second Bethesda trailer, where we see the employee adding words to the page, which was Emil Pagliarulo, if you zoom in on the bottom right, it's signed New Atlantis, which may be this city right here, Planet Jemison Alpha Centauri. So we now have a confirmed location in the game. Now, if we go to the first trailer and stop it at the point of the illuminated table, which is this right here, if you zoom in, this table is labeled Astro Guidance Station. Above, to the left of it, is labeled Astro Guidance Reference with what looks like a bunch of coordinates underneath it. This is important because next to that is an ETA of 22 minutes and 3 seconds, which I guess 22 minutes to the destination. The top of the ETA line, highlighted, is difficult to read but looks like Jemison. Also, in the same frame, half hidden behind that display, we've seen on the watch, you can clearly see the words J-E-M, and what looks like could be interpreted as an I afterwards, but the rest is hidden. So I believe that's where we are. That makes sense too, as if to have the galaxy we explore, we'll probably start at the closest star, Alpha Centauri. Then he says he's correct in a follow-up post. We are heading to the planet Jemison Alpha Centauri. He links his previous post saying, once again, nobody's mentioned this in my last thread, I was the first to identify the location of 2203 ETA. It was hard to read, but I identified Jemison. Now I've gone back and watched the original trailer again and can confirm that my original post was correct. In the teaser, if you listen closely, the announcer says at 1 minute and 15 seconds, Jemison route looks good, which, let's listen here. You can hear it clear as day now.
This is all we've been working towards.
Jemison route looks good.
This gives us an indicator of where we're also heading. And that doesn't really give us much in what's the purpose, what's happening here. But it does start to piece everything together and is a sign that investigations have moved forward quite a bit. There's one little piece of information I also want to share with you all. This one less of a, hey, here's something about Starfield as a game, but more an indicator of something worth paying attention to, which is some of the line mapping that we've seen across the trailer for Starfield, and we're also seeing in different pieces of art, and now the background on the Starfield website. So let's take a look. Once again, on Reddit, the background of Starfield's official website is a star map, which they go ahead and show this image right here. What's really neat is not only do we see this on the center table that we mentioned earlier in our speculation, but you also see it on the bottom left and right corners of the Starfield wallpaper, which indicates a lot of its importance there. So what exactly it means, I'm not sure. It could very well just be nothing, but I thought it was worth pointing out in a video loaded of, I think, discoveries of some significance here. So the biggest Starfield mysteries have only gotten more strange, but I wanted to share them with you because while they're not overall super conclusive, I think more eyes on them is exciting and interesting. I also think it's just one of those things where we can maybe get our answers with more people aware of it, and as we acquire more information, we can dig deeper. But it's been really fun doing these types of videos. And like I said, I imagine this will be one of our last Starfield videos until we see or hear more. So I do hope you enjoy this and understand that I don't want to run this whole thing in the ground with Starfield. But there was just a lot more to go through than I think people gave credit for. But that's up to us. I don't want to say super fans, but people who are much more interested in where Starfield's heading to investigate that stuff. So I hope you found this enjoyable and informative, and let me know what you're thinking of the latest Starfield information in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below, along with my Patreon. Big thank you to all the patrons who support crazy investigations like this. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.